just kind of, they know next man up, and they've kind of taken that challenge, and they've been ready to go. And so they've worked hard, and, I'm excited for them.
Now, turning into 2024, the big piece is going to be senior quarterback Talon Langford, returning from that ACL injury that sidelined him for the season last year. We saw Trevor McGraw step in, had a phenomenal season at quarterback, like he had already mentioned. Second team All League honors just behind Declan Battle, had a great season in his own at Louisburg. Trevor passing for over 2,000 yards and 21 touchdowns. Now it's Talon's time to step back in. How has he looked over the summer, and what are your expectations for him, and what will be his first time starting at quarterback since his sophomore year in 2022?
Yeah, we obviously have high expectations. He had a great sophomore season. We know the kind of athlete he is, and what he brings to that position. So he knows that we're, looking for him to kind of continue what we've accomplished. And I know that he can do it, and he's been working hard and getting better week in and week out. And so, I've got high hopes that he's going to have a huge season.
Yeah, I know it was a couple years ago when you and I were talking when he was just a sophomore. You were really giddy about the talent, uh, just the raw talent that he had. And that sophomore year, he showed flashes of that. Obviously, had the growing pains with that being his first full year of starting. Now coming back from the knee injury, it's going to be very exciting to see what he can do
Yep.
in his senior year. Tonganoxie football, also sticking with the offense, you guys have had a long history of highly touted running backs in recent years. My memory always goes back to Dalton Bach, Corbin Riedel, Cooper Cunningham, Tyler Bowden in the COVID year. And you've had Colton Bruisman for the past couple of years, as you mentioned, has gotten the majority of his snaps pretty much since he was a sophomore. Now it looks like it's going to be Tanner Hand's turn. He got some looks in last year, really shined in moments. I always go back to the Atchison game, and there was some time. I know Bruisman had his way for the majority of that game. In the second half, though, it looked like the Phoenix defense might have figured it out. I remember Tanner Hand having some key carries in that game, especially late into the third and into the start of the fourth quarter. What are you expecting out of Tanner as he turns to the running back one position here in 2024?
No, I think he's definitely ready to take that role. He's had a great offseason. He's a track guy with us, works hard, getting his speed ready, doing that. Was on our all-state 4x1 team, along with Todd, and actually all four are football players. So Kendall and Alex Stevens too. So I've got, again, he's another one I think that'll kind of step into that role. And if he can stay healthy, we'll have another big season.
Yeah, just another in a long line of highly touted running backs, as we already mentioned. Staying with the offense again, you already just kind of mentioned him there. Todd Brown, the speedster, returning for his senior year after earning first team All League honors as a junior, 669 yards and 4 touchdowns. You got Owen Schmidt is also back after having some big catches last season, stepping up for when Tyler Pankey was out with injury last year, another senior that's graduated. Got some pieces returning in the trenches, including center Zach Fisher. You're the offensive mastermind for Tonganoxie year in and year out. What has you most excited about this group on offense this season?
Offensive line. I mean, I don't know if you remember that Piper game 3 years ago, my first year as the head coach. When we went in, we started 3 sophomores and a freshman on the offensive line. That's not fun at that time, but like going towards the future, like if you can keep building, those guys can keep progressing, there's going to be some good things. And so those are 3 seniors and a junior now. So I'm really looking to lean heavily on those guys, and I think they can do some incredible things.
Always starts in the trenches. As a former lineman myself, as you know, love to hear that. And of course, as they say, defense wins championships, and Coach Bond always has that defense ready to play. Just give us a preview of what we can expect from this Chieftain defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think up front we're pretty athletic. You got Kendall Smith and TJ both in that interior. They're just physical specimens. They're great athletes. Tanner and Kale have been playing since their sophomore years on the varsity level at linebacker. I just look for those guys, and then you add Rhodes back to the middle. I think those guys are going to do some great things stopping the run. And then our secondary will return a lot of guys. You put Talon back out there, who's a great defender. Todd's started for 2 years out there. Schmidt played a lot last year too. And so our secondary, Brady Martin, got a lot of playing time. So this is a really experienced bunch. There's not a lot of guys out there that are new or don't have a lot of varsity experience. So we just look to kind of build off what we had last year and, continue to, the big thing in the frontier, can you stop the run? And I think this group's got a good chance to do that.
And I've had this question for Coach Hardy, and I want to ask it to you as well. You're taking a look around the Frontier League in 2024. It really has never been easy in this league to win on a weekly basis, but 2024 definitely looks like it's going to be one of the more tougher years in the league. You got the back-to-back league champions in Louisburg looking to reload and go for the three-peat. You got Spring Hill and Paola, who are just always competitive. Those games are never easy. Eudora coming off a tough season with injuries last year. They're looking to win their first ever league title this year. Walt Anderson in Ottawa appears to have a squad that's ready to make some noise this year. Give me your thoughts on the league's depth of talent and how tough it is to compete and win in a league like this every week.
Well, I mean, I think the Frontier is the premier 4A league. There's no weak team in it, and so we just expect, we're not gonna try to do anything that we can't, make it bigger than we have to. We just take it a week at a time. And so right now we're focused on Louisburg, and we know they're, yeah, like you said, going for their third league title. They haven't lost a league game in 2 years, and so we know it's gonna be tough. They've got good players, and we just got to do what we do and focus on getting better every day and preparing for that. And that's what we've been doing, this last year. And so right now we're just focused on Louisburg.
And that's the big test right out of the gate in week one on the road at Louisburg in our Frontier League Sports Live game of the week. It was an all-time classic last time you two met last season, a little bit later in the year. Louisburg took it at the end, 30-29, fourth quarter drive to score the winning touchdown and two-point conversion. There are a lot of new and familiar faces for both teams. Give me your thoughts on this matchup for Friday night and what it means to have this game in week one, since it could have a say in really who the league champion is come late October.
Yep, like they said, we don't get any time to warm up here. We're just gonna go right at it. And so there we know the Moore kid is gonna be great. We know the Hovey kid is gonna be great. I've seen film of their new starting quarterback. He's a phenomenal athlete too. So they're gonna have the pieces. It's gonna be, we know we got a challenge ahead of us, but that's, to me, that's like the fun in this. Like we get to go out and we get to see where we're at. And I think that we match up well, and I think it could be hopefully another classic like it was a year ago. Let's hope that we're on the other side of it. But Lewisburg's always tough. They're a physical team. They're well coached. That's since we've been in the league, they've never been an easy out. They've always their kids are going to fight like crazy. And so we know we're going to expect 48 minutes of just giving it everything we got, because that's what they're going to give us.
Absolutely wouldn't expect anything less from two highly touted squads. Couple of quick ones here at the end for you, Coach. Who has impressed you the most over summer workouts or practices? Has there been somebody that has stood out to you the most in just their drive, their work ethic? Is there anybody that comes to mind?
It's not one. Our senior class is just all together done a really good job. They're not a group that I have to worry about. Like, are they going to be there? Like every day I get there and I know that those guys are going to be there and they're going to be leading. And they've always kind of shown that. But now that group that graduated last year, which had some great leaders in it, is gone. Now it's their time to shine, and they've just from the very beginning been leaders and done it, been servant leaders and shown kind of the young guys how this system works and how everything goes. And so I'm just looking forward to them getting their opportunity now to go do it on a Friday night.
One last time for 2023. How do you feel last year's team, the 2023 Tonganoxie Chieftains, will always be remembered?
Oh, I think it's always going to be that playoff run. How they finished the year was just it was something special. And they'd worked hard and they took their lumps. A lot of those guys, like I said before, started as sophomores, and that's not an easy thing to do. That's just kind of the 4A way, at least around here. It seems like every couple of years we've got that special class that has to start a little earlier than they probably need to, but they kind of take their lumps and then they get a little bit better. And then, we had the injury bugs a lot that junior year with Pankey and McGraw going down. So they took their lumps a little bit again their junior year. And then as seniors, they finally they put it together and went on that fun run and got to do it on the road for the first time too. So it was a good experience, but we've celebrated that, and now it's time for these next group of seniors to create their legacy. And so that's where we're at right now.
Last one for you, Coach. Final message to Tonganoxie fans going into Friday night.
Oh, hey, just come out and support. It's going to be down there at Louisburg. It's going to be a fun atmosphere. Like I said, every week's going to be, league title on the line with these great teams. So just come out and get ready to watch a great game.
And you can catch the game live this Friday night. It's going to be live on varsitysportslive.com. You can also catch it on Tonganoxie Sports Live and the Varsity Sports Live YouTube pages. Head coach of the Tonganoxie Chieftains, Preston Troyer. Coach, thank you for the time today. Best of luck on Friday, and we'll see you then.
All right, see ya. Thanks.
The Wildcats haven't lost a game in league play in over 2 years, and they don't plan on that changing in 2024. Led by head coach Drew Harding, the Wildcats could be the first team in league history to win 3 straight Frontier League titles. However, for senior running back Ashton Moore and company, the goal is way beyond that. Going 1-0 each week and making a deep run into the postseason are what these Wildcats crave. All right, now here on Frontier League Sports Live, we're joined by Louisburg football head coach Drew Harding. Coach, thank you for the time today. How we doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. Thank you for taking the time. Just right off the bat, how's the offseason gone for you, and how's the summer training been with the team this year?
We've had a good summer. We certainly lost a lot from the senior class of 2023, and so we knew we needed to have a good summer to get ourselves going for the season this year. And so I think we've done that. We had some guys kind of step up in some leadership roles, and put some good time together, and a lot of people were able to kind of step up and fill some roles that we needed.
Yeah, I think that's something you guys are very familiar with. I know obviously 2 years ago, I think you guys lost somewhere around, was it 16 total seniors? Or I know it was into double figures. And I know you've had some turnover again this year. You guys last year were the only team in the Frontier League to have 4 players represented that were selected with first team all league honors. One of them being Declan Battle, obviously talented quarterback now over at Washburn. The other 3 you have coming back this year, and Ashton Moore, newly committed to Kansas State. Congratulations to him. Wildcat for life, looks like. Braden Yoder and Conley Hovey. How valuable is it to return those caliber of players to this team this season in the midst of, like you've already talked about, a little bit of turnover and looking for players to step up?
Yeah, it's certainly a benefit to welcome back those 3 players for sure. They're obviously quality football players, and they're all good leaders. Those 3 have all been named team captains by their peers, and so that just kind of shows that we as a team are relying on them, and there's somebody that we can count on, and so it's definitely nice to have those 3 caliber of athletes coming back for their senior year.
And I know the season last year, touching on it a little bit, phenomenal season. You go through the regular season undefeated, back-to-back league champions. We'll get into that a little bit more in just a second. Into the second round of the playoffs, you face a tough Basin Linwood team, comes down to just a couple of yards short, heartbreaking way to end the season. Have you been using that loss at all, maybe to motivate these guys during the summer? Or maybe have you seen some of the upperclassmen trying to use that loss to motivate themselves, try to get better, whether it be in the weight room, whether it be on the practice field during the summer? Have you seen any of that this summer at all?
I think that they realized that the last 2 years we haven't really gone on much of a playoff run. We've exited in the second round the last 2 years, and so that's one of the goals that those guys set for this season, is that they want to go deep in the playoffs. And obviously we can't think about that right now. We can't be looking forward to the playoffs at this moment in time. We know we got to take it just 1 week at a time, and 1 day at a time, really. And so we got to put our best foot forward each day, and take advantage of the opportunities that we get. And so hopefully we don't end up in the same situation as last year. Taking a tough loss early in the playoffs.
Yeah, I love that mindset of week by week. Uh, it's really impressive when you look at it. Back-to-back league titles. You got the chance this year. I know we hear the word three-peat thrown around a lot now with the Kansas City Chiefs, but you guys have a chance of a three-peat yourselves, of going 3 straight years in a row of winning the Frontier League title. But it's really impressive when you look just how deep the league is. Obviously with Louisburg, Tonganoxie coming out in week 1 in the sub-state championship game last year against St. Thomas Aquinas. You got, Spring Hill is always a competitive team. Ottawa this year is looking to really make a jump. You got Paola under Mike Smith, that's always looking really, really competitive. It's a really tough league. Just give me your thoughts on the season and how much of a challenge it is to compete in a league like the Frontier League on a week by week basis.
Yeah, it's a grind for sure. It's a phenomenal league. there's a lot of really, really good athletes in our league and a lot of really good coaches in our league. And so that makes it a challenge each and every week. And, you kind of rattled off all the teams there, but um, there's no gimme when you're looking at the schedule. All of those coaches can coach really well, and there's good athletes on every single team. So you know that you got to prepare each week. You can't overlook anybody, and you better bring it on Friday night and be ready for a battle, regardless of who you're playing, regardless of what happened last week, because all those teams are a really, really good football team.
And with all that being said, I mentioned a chance of a three-peat. Uh, I know the league started in 2018. I believe you guys, if you were to pull it off again this year, three straight league titles, you'd be the first team to do it since the league was formed. Is that something that's talked about? I know it's obviously a goal. Everybody kind of looks at it in phases. You know, phase one kind of being the offseason training, the offseason program. Phase two or three, maybe you're starting to get into win the league and then get into the postseason, make a run, win the ultimate goals. So I know obviously winning the league is talked about, but I mean, is there maybe a little bit of added pressure potentially saying that, hey, we can go for the three-peat, or is it just like business as usual?
Well, I really think for us, certainly, some kids have talked about it, and they're excited to be in the situation to even have a possibility to do it. But I think that everybody knows that just like the playoffs, we can't be looking forward to a league championship or where we're going to be at the end of October. We got to take it, just like I said previously, you got to take it every single week as its own season. You got to take every single day as an opportunity to get better and improve as individuals and as a team. So yeah, I think that they're certainly aware of it, but it's not something that we can focus on right here and now. For this week, obviously, we're focusing on Tonganoxie, really, really good football team, and that's all we need to focus on.
Yeah, so you've already mentioned it, the matchup with Tonganoxie this Friday. You guys met a little bit later in the season last year. It was a big win on the road for you guys, 30-29. I remember the play. There was a little over 5 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. You guys were down, and I remember Declan Battle stepping up in a pocket. It was like a 2nd and 26 play, and I believe he hit Kaplinger up the home sideline, up the left sideline, got behind the defense. It was a beautiful throw and a beautiful catch, and you guys went for two, and you went up 30-29, and you ended up holding on for the win. It was absolutely huge. You start with Tonganoxie again this Friday. A lot of new and familiar faces on both sides of both teams. Just talk about having this matchup in week one, because it is definitely a matchup that maybe we will be looking back on when we get to late October and say this was a matchup that potentially decided the eventual league champion.
Yeah. Tonganoxie, phenomenal football team, really, really good athletes, really, really good coaches. So it's not one that you can sleepwalk into whatsoever. And so it's exciting to start off the season, that way. I think that really focused us a little bit. There's some urgency to it. Through the summer, there's some urgency with the first 2 weeks that, hey, you're not, walking into a gimme by any means. It's a phenomenal football team, like you said, that was in the, one of the final four that was left in 4A. So a huge challenge right off the bat, and it's certainly exciting.
All right, and just some quick questions here for you, the end coach. I'll leave these up to you. You can go in depth as you want, or you can leave it as short as you want. Again, touching on 2023, how do you think the 2023 Louisburg Wildcats will always be remembered?
Our last year, right? Current to last year's
La-
team.
Last year's team, correct?
Yeah. So for me, how I will remember those kids is just really good kids that came and got better every single day. It was just such a fun group to be around, and in years past we've played music at practice to kind of get the energy, get the juice going a little bit at practice, and there wasn't a single day that we needed to play music at all. They brought it themselves, and just had made it so much fun to where they had this unique ability where you could tell they were having fun, they were loose, and enjoying the moment that they were in, but at the same time incredibly focused on what they needed to do to accomplish their goals. So that's how I'll remember the 2023 team for sure.
For 2024, for people that may be starting to gravitate towards Louisburg football this year, summarize what maybe they can expect from this team coming in 2024.
2024, we kind of hope to continue the recent success that we've had. We got a lot of, tough kids, tough, hard-nosed kids that love to play football. I don't know if there's many games that when you watch the two teams warm up, I don't know if we ever look better than any of the other teams warming up. And so just a group of kids that love to play football, love to compete, and believe in each other.
Two more for you. We've talked a lot last year. When you talk about this team, you heard a lot about Declan Battle, right? And there are a lot of names from last year's team still going to be said a lot this year. But maybe for someone that people weren't as familiar with, give us a name on offense and give us a name on defense. Again, that fans may not have been super familiar with last year, but definitely this year they're taking that next step up, and you're going to be hearing their names a lot coming up on Friday nights.
Yeah, so offensively, so we have returned the three guys that we kind of mentioned previously. Some other people that I think can certainly help us out. Miles Vose at receivers is going to be a guy that's going to hopefully be able to make a lot of plays for us. Quarterback would to be one that people watching will want to know about. So Alex Saad, we're excited to see what he can do at the quarterback position. And there's just a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys that are kind of stepping into some roles. Obviously, the offensive line doesn't get enough love ever. But we've got two returning starters in addition to Braden with Johnny Hendrickson and Miles Meek, okay, that are both pretty solid players, big time players for us. And so that's just a few names without going through the whole roster.
No, I figured that might have been a question. It's really easy to kind of tail off a little bit. You can talk about so many guys, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then you mentioned defensively. I just kind of realized I didn't touch on that. So, a guy that we're really excited to see would be Lucas Schwartz. He played a little bit in kind of a variety of roles for us in the last year. Came on late in the year, so we're excited to see what he can do. Stepping up into that role. You got Eric Lean at linebacker that'll fill a big role for us from loss of a senior, and then our secondary is all brand new, and so we're excited to see all of those guys, a wide variety of guys, a lot of names to list there, stepping up and making plays on the back end.
Some exciting stuff. Can't wait for the start of the season again. It kicks off this Friday night at Wildcat Stadium, hosting the Tonganoxie Chieftains, right? A huge matchup coming out of week one. It's our Frontier League Sports Live and Varsity Sports Live game of the week. A lot of eyeballs going to be on this matchup, Coach. Just a final message to Louisburg fans before everybody comes to the game on Friday night.
Oh, we just, I just want to say appreciate all the support that we get. We really feel like playing in Louisburg is such a blessing. We get supported so well from our community, and just want our community to know that we appreciate the support. We certainly don't overlook it by any means. The kids are extremely thankful for all the support that they get, and so just thank you.
And head coach Drew Harding of the Louisburg Wildcats. You can catch the game live starting at 7 o'clock on varsitysportslive.com. Coach, thank you for the time today. Best of luck on Friday, and we'll see you then.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Now let's take a look at the rest of the matchups happening in the Frontier League in week one. You have Baldwin on the road at Iola. That game can be viewed on Baldwin Sports Live YouTube channel. The Eudora Cardinals are home taking on the Hayden Wildcat from Topeka. That one can be viewed also on the Varsity Sports Live YouTube channel. Ottawa Cyclones at Atchison Phoenix. The Paola Panthers at the Fort Scott Tigers. That one can be viewed at Paola Sports Live on YouTube. And lastly, the Spring Hill Broncos take on the Bonner Springs Braves. That one can be viewed on Spring Hill Sports Live on YouTube. Be sure to follow Varsity Sports Live on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and stay up to date on all the latest news and information. And visit our website, varsitysportslive.com. to watch all the past, current, and upcoming live streaming events. And be sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube so you never miss an episode of Frontier League Sports Live. I'm Dylan Funk. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week right here on Frontier League Sports Live.